Hey everyone. Thanks for being here this evening. We are closed session. We are once again in open session. And again, as we always do, we stand for the pledge of allegiance and remaining standing for a moment of silence in honor of those serving in our military armed forces here at everyone. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. Please be seated. This evening with, so we've already begun. We'll open the meeting for public participation. As always, ownership mobility issues, please step up to the podium. You have to state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes of uninterrupted time for questions or comments.
Jesse Villers, 8 Church Street. I'm here just to discuss again the potential of my business Baked by the River being able to expand hours. We got a letter from the Lambertville Chamber of Commerce talking about a lot of the local businesses expanding hours as a way to support each other and support the local economy, especially as the winter months are here and with the bridge closure that's proposed in January. So I've had a lot of small business owners that are right around my shop come through and ask, hey, we got to see you open later. Can you come and help us support us in this effort? And I'd love to be able to do that. And so I've let them know that it's a bit more complicated because we've had ordinances written for cannabis businesses. And so I just wanted to be able to continue that conversation because there is a local push with the businesses to try and stay open later to support the local economy.
Before we move on, Bill, if I remember correctly, the city council, if we wanted to take up this question again, could by zone allow for different hours of operation of the campus? Do you remember this?
Yes, each of the zones where the establishments are located have different conditions set forth, so I would be, you would just, each portraits are, and then you just amend the particular law for a certain area. As we discussed, some of the central business district and the next portion of the metro area.
Okay, without getting into this right now, I am personally open to having this conversation again. So why don't I talk to the council members and follow up with you? All right. Did anyone else have anything to add there?
I would just add, I definitely would like to discuss that more. I think it makes sense, especially for the Baked by the River. Spencer, it's right, across the street from Mitchell's. It's, the downtown area. They have a lot of customers out there, less residential concerns as opposed to other areas. So I would be in support of discussing it.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Well, seeing that both are in the CBD, I don't know what we could, right? Both of these are.
No, one is in the C3 district.
No, I wasn't talking about the one. I think in the northern end of the town, I think we know that there's a neighborhood up there around the building. There's not really a neighborhood around Baked by the River. There is, but not to the extent that it is in the northern part of town. But how do we not allow Jersey Girls to do the same thing since they're in a commercial building separated from their town?
It would be by zone, correct, Bill? We wouldn't have a choice. It would be.
It's just, yes, we can't spot zone CBD, can we?
We're not sponsoring CBD.
No, I know. Well, if we allow one in the CBD, again, this conversation.
We're not just going to allow do it by zone. That's what we're talking about.
Right.
So if you're in the CBD, you can stay open X amount of hours.
Right.
And it would also affect Jersey Girls are in the CBD.
Anybody else have that?
Okay, just wanted to be clear what our approach was. I'm not opposed to it. But, okay, thank you. Jeff Tittle, 33 Wilson Street.
I just, wanted to make a couple of comments. We had the Zoom meeting this week, which was, I think, good, general information. I'm glad Mayor Colley helped get the EC in here, but one of the things that came out of that meeting is it left a lot that we have to do. For instance, DEP is not going to deal with a health study. We really need to get the county health department in there to do a survey because there's a lot of anecdotal evidence of a lot of health problems, but we really need to document it. Secondly, and I think more importantly, it shows that it's going to be a beginning of a process, not the end, and it can take years until DEP is done with their survey work up there and their analysis to find out where the PFAS is coming from. And again, what that says to me is that the hill must be removed from the town's plan. At this stage, there's no other reason to keep it in there other than you want your higher numbers or something for something else. But keeping it in there now makes no sense, especially since DEP is going to be looking at that site and around it and what's going on up there. We've never really heard back from them on what they found in their monitoring wells. Secondly, vacant land is a big part of our number. And if you remove those 14 acres, it could be used to reduce our numbers. Also, the number 39, and I've got this from other towns, seems to be very arbitrary. There's a lot of towns at a 39 level. A lot of it's based on vacant land from aerials, not lot and block, not looking at steep slopes or constraints or floodplains, like the islands off of Lambertville could be counted. So you really need to get the methodology and look to adjust that. And the other point too is between the 39 and the 28, that's 67. Where can we build 30? If we have to do 4 to 1, where can we build 335 units in this town? There's just not enough land, and that's why we need to look at an adjustment. We can do 100% in some places, and I wish we could do all of it for 100%, but we can't. We go broke. I mean, we have some sites. And my final point is that I know tonight you're going to start the committee. Well, the committee really should be charged with looking at alternatives for the hill, but the hill should not be included, because if the hill is included, it becomes the excuse as an easy place to just put the numbers, even though it doesn't work there, even though it has all these environmental constraints and potential contamination and flooding and traffic and everything that's wrong with it. So really, that the committee really should be charged to be looking at alternative sites and ways for us to meet our numbers. Thank you.
Judy Gleason, 86 North Union Street. First of all, I want to associate myself with the remarks that have already been made relative to the 2-week closure of the bridge generally in terms of the whole town and how we can better support whatever's happening on this side of the bridge during that period of time, because so far I haven't really seen anything advertised or put out there or said in any way that would be useful to people who might think about coming to town after the first of the year. So I would encourage that we think about that pretty seriously as the support from the town governing body. Secondly, with respect to, I mean, I haven't been here for a couple of meetings because I've been unable to be here, but I was surprised that there was nothing on the agenda about affordable housing and what we're going to do, because we've talked about, you all have talked about, we have raised it from here. The 200 units on the Hill issue is not the only one there. We should be looking at other things. I think Jeff just made that point more specifically in some areas. I'm not even trying to repeat all of that. I'm just saying, let's get going. And yes, I know we're appointing a committee, and I think that's great. But the council has to eliminate the 200 units on the top of the hill. It has to be called to a vote, and we have to move ahead. Everyone wants affordable housing in this town. You do not have a town resisting. You have a town in favor. Let's try to move the ball by beginning to consider other options openly, publicly, by the council, instead of buzzing and whispering behind the scenes of all the people who live here. I mean, let's not keep letting it go, because then we're going to wind up with the court saying, hey, you better do something. We're going to be saying, we have no choice. We have to move right now. This is all we have. 200 units on the hill, and here we'll be again. We've lived through that in many things over the past several years. Please don't be the council that does that again. Please don't be the mayor who does that again, and please don't be the council who does that again. Because you have a town in support of affordable housing and options and exploring. I know, it's too bad I wasn't still awake, but I'm still here. Thank you.
We missed you. I sit in the Dolphins area too. Other members of the public wish to speak? Do we have people online speaking?
But they're all quiet right now.
Do we have for the record, please? So, welcome, 7 people. All right, may I have a motion to close the public participation period, please?
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Consent agenda, following resolutions on the consent agenda, considered routine, shall be enacted by one motion. If anyone in the city council would like a separate discussion of the item, please let me know now. And we'll pull it out and discuss it separately. I would just note here that we do, in fact, as Jude noted, have a resolution to establish and appoint the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee for 2025. I will thank, I thank them after the vote. Why don't we do that first? And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. Did the company present that any of these items? And hearing none, I would ask someone to make a motion to adopt through the consent agenda resolutions 160-2024 through 166-2024. All in favor, please say aye. Okay, motion carries. I will talk about affordable housing in a few minutes. For the second reading of an ordinance this evening, this is ordinance number 25-2024. It's an ordinance of the city of Lambertville and the county of Hunterdon, New Jersey, providing for acquisition and repair of police vehicles of and for the city, appropriating $95,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $90,250 in general equivalent bonds or notes in the city to finance the same. So we talked about this last meeting. This will fund the purchase of a new vehicle, a hybrid vehicle, first in the fleet, and will also fund the repair or actually the replacement of an engine for an existing police vehicle. And this time I will open this up to public hearing for ordinance number 25-2024. Is there anybody on the public who would like to speak to this ordinance? Anyone mind? Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to close the public hearing for ordinance number 25-2024?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, very much you may have on this. Sorry, then I will make a motion to adopt ordinance 25-2024 in second reading, granting final approval. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good, motion carries. So a few updates, or actually, discussion items. First thing that's not on the agenda is I'd like to ask the council if they would be willing to move the reorganization meeting from January 1st to Thursday, January 2nd at 7 p.m. Is that something that everybody could do?
That works very well for me, because I'm not gonna be here in person.
Let me check.
Bill, are you able to make that meeting? Thank you.
January 2nd. Yes, I'm good.
Okay, so then I'm going to instruct Cindy to notice the meeting for January 2nd at 7 p.m. here rather than on the 1st. Thank you for your flexibility on that.
Thank you for asking for it.
Oh, I don't know why we do it on the 1st and not do it different day. So let that be noted for the next couple of years anyway.
It's going in the minute.
It's going in the minutes. All right. No, I don't think we're going to forget next year.
Well, I had planned the night before, but
That's right. That's right. Everyone did. Sleep in. Worry about it next day. Let's see. I would also just like to take a moment before we have a discussion on all these things, just to thank the NJDP for the presentation this week. We had about 59 people attend. The session was posted to the city website. All of the slides, I found it incredibly informative, and I learned a few things, and I was grateful for them. And I followed up up with them today to thank them. So if you have any questions about anything that you saw, or if you have any questions about PFAS in general or the spill fund, please let us know. The DEP has said that they will answer any further questions that come in through the city. So if you have specific questions that you didn't hear answered or that you'd like to ask, please send them to either me or Cindy, and I will send them to the DEP, who will respond.
If I could just make one brief comment, I was also on that, on the presentation and that, and it was great to see that, two mayors are working on the same problem and the same concerns of each side of the border, which I think is a huge step forward for both us, Stanwell, to work on a common problem. And I would hope that we could build on this workmanship between the two cities and when it comes to additional things that may come our way that we need support from each other and from West Napa. So I thought it was a great start.
It's a point well taken. I think I have a good relationship with Mayor Kelly. I appreciate his work, and we've collaborated on a couple of things now. So they've been good neighbors, and I appreciate his support. So I want to talk about a couple of things. I've had a number of residents over the last couple of months bring up the idea of doing a community garden up in Holcomb Park. And I wanted to talk about that more substantively tonight with the council. I've talked to Mary Ann Dorsch, who will kind of undertake the effort with volunteers. They'll do some research about the best way to structure a community garden. We've now had property for almost 3 years, and you know, we will probably have some small startup costs in doing that, just making sure that the gate protects us from woodchucks, and then we get the field plowed in, and we determine kind of the best way forward to establish a community garden up there. There's a well, so and the well has not run dry, so it cost to me when we bought the property. So we'll have irrigation for a community garden, and I'd like to just hear a general reaction, and if everybody's okay with it, like just the green light to kind of further explore this with the Parks and Rec Commission.
Great idea.
Good.
People like it. People like to have their fresh fruits and veggies.
Of course, let's give it a go.
All right.
I think it's a great idea. I think there's a lot of people in town that might not have a backyard or a backyard large enough to grow something, and it might not even be, you know, veggies. Maybe it's they want to grow some flower, whatever it is. I think it's great that we're gonna have that opportunity to give to them. So
You know, a great one at the school. It's,
yeah,
you
that's a
know,
great point.
good idea.
All right.
Yeah.
so good.
I would like to actually reach out to the school and see if maybe they might want to be part of that too. I think that might be
They have a community garden at the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it might be a good option for summer program. I don't know, through either Parks and Rec or Richmond Park. I want to do something.
Active scouts.
Yeah.
Another that could be involved with this, maybe help them get badges and things. I think that once we start concentrating on it, I think we'll find many ways to bring as many groups together as we can to have a community garden. Public a great idea.
Yeah, I think we have good engagement and leadership in Parks and Recreation. I have a lot of confidence in their ability to move this forward.
Good. And we've had a couple of people in North Union Street who are very keen on the idea and have offered to be kind of integral to the volunteer effort. So good. Well, thank you for that, everyone. I will keep you all apprised of kind of what progress we make in sort of structuring it, looking at it, etc. The other thing I've been talking about for the last couple of years, it was a topic that I brought up, and I'll always bring it up too late before we can actually do something about it, is the potential to establish just a Sunday farmers market in the library parking lot. And this would just be a seasonal farmers market. And I don't have a particular vision other than it would be Sunday mornings, maybe from 9 to 1. We would, you know, it's another thing that I've had some people in town volunteer to spearhead in terms of sort of looking at it as a project and organizing it and proposing certain times and everything that would need need to happen in order to get that up and running. So this is another idea I wanted to take the council's temperature on, and potentially move forward.
Quick question, for Cindy, do we have permits? Did we permit that lot or we use that as an overall?
It's an overflow for people who have parking stickers on Ferry Street and South Main. But it's not, there's no permits in it, you know what I mean? If it's open, you have the right to use it, but this is something that would benefit the entire community versus.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if I had to change something.
Yeah.
Well, we'll certainly bring them into a conversation.
I like the idea a lot. I think, you know, when the market did close down, you know, a lot of people were really upset about that. So I, you know, think it's a great opportunity. So very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's great. Good. I think if it's successful, we should try to find a larger
Yeah.
space,
Right.
given that the parking's really tight there.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we could take it to the, you know, field, Ely Field or something, because at least people can park there. It's really, you know, we might have a hard time with the flow there, so.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think it's worth a try, and given that it's really centrally located in the city, I would imagine a lot of people will just walk. So, you
Well,
know,
we'll take temperature and see how the parking rolls out on that. If we, you know, so we can always move it.
Yeah.
So it's,
and it's Lieutenant, do you remember how many spaces are there? It's less than a dozen, right?
No, there would be much more. If you wanted to put it there, we'd probably have to post it the night before.
Right.
And, or Ely Field or Caval Park, you know, maybe, you know, what, but anyway, there's just some other options.
Right, yeah, Kamala got you once, a little bit.
There's actually
Yeah.
someone who sets up their car there, their truck.
Oh, right, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I think the nice thing about the library, if it would work though, is, you know, maybe it might even bring some more people into town too, maybe they might, you know. You might get some outside visitors too, so walk in town and spend some more money.
Well, yeah, and a Sunday morning is typically a time when you can find parking in town, right? That, I mean, maybe with the exception of kind of when churches and, you know, when mass is being said or.
the library is not open on Sundays.
Correct, yes, yeah, that's why I should speak. Did you have something else?
Have you done anything about sourcing and the sourcing for the orders?
Not at all. My personal viewpoint is that, I don't know if this is if this would be held up by, law, but, I would ideally like it to be New Jersey farmers, rather than Pennsylvania farmers. Anything wrong with Pennsylvania?
Jersey Fresh.
Jersey Fresh.
Jersey Fresh.
Yeah, Garden State. It sounds like everybody is giving me a little bit of a latitude to do some, exploration on and something.
And actually, now that you mentioned it, maybe it would be a great idea to connect Jersey Fresh with the group that is doing this, and maybe there's some synergy between the two about promoting it all.
Well, absolutely, and in fact, I'm gonna talk to you about the Hunter County Chamber of Commerce, and remind me to weave this back into the conversation. Thanks. And affordable housing, I want to thank first of all Paul who's here and Paul who's here, and I believe Michelle Harris is probably online. These are people who have agreed to serve on the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, which will start meeting in January, now that we have formed the committee. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to having Councilman Light on it, and I think it's going to be very, very productive right out of the gate. So stay tuned on that. I may have one other thing that I asked the council to consider in the conversations recently with Christian and Mark. I was interviewed for a community needs assessment. And, you know, they've always had some interest in, you know, kind of variety of, like their fingers in a number of different pies. And, you know, we talked about potentially having someone from the board, Fisherman's Mark, also serve on that advisory committee. So that's something I'll probably talk with each of you individually, and we'll see. That may be an addition or an appointment in January, or even earlier, if everybody's comfortable with that as an idea. So that's about affordable housing. And, you know, to Judy's point, we haven't really had, begun to have a kind of public conversation about the fourth round. And I don't know how far we're gonna get to it. I didn't actually anticipate that we are gonna get very far. But as I said to Councilman Finsky, I just wanted to kind of dip my toe in the water here a little bit and to begin to talk about the fourth round. So just for those of you who may not have this handy or who may not remember, our first official deadline it's listed is that we're supposed to adopt a binding resolution stipulating to a fourth round obligation by January 31st. There are some, if we want to do a vacant land analysis or other things, we will, I'm not sure how that gets worked into the timeline, but I just wanted to kind of hear what the council members have to say about the number, the process, and I think that probably the next step will be to engage Kelly Sullivan and Clark in kind of a more detailed discussion. So do we have any thoughts that they want to share initially about the fourth round?
I think when we were talking to our attorney, and I think Elaine told us that, I think the procedure, and I think we've got to either accept or not accept the number, and then after that, the vacant land adjustment gets done, so I think that's the process.
Yeah, I think, and the deadline is January 31st, although it could get extended, and I think DCA there was talk of them releasing more information about your number so you can analyze it more. I was looking at some of the data, the sub data in the Excel sheet that they have. I don't know if that's the extent of it, but I guess, it would be nice for us here too to have, I know we have some comments on it from our professionals, but be able to have a full discussion because this is complicated things and for us to understand it and have digested it fully is really important because it's very consequential and there's a lot of nuances in affordable housing stuff that because we're in court here and then we have this fourth round and then the actions that we take in our housing element as it sits now and then what we do in the fourth round, it would be nice to discuss what those alternatives are, what the answers are, and some of the answers are nobody knows. So when you talk to or because there are no precedents for this fourth round, and if you're in court, what does that mean? So a full exploration of that, and at least kind of what we don't know, it is good to know as well, because I think what we've learned is in terms of dealing with, at least I have learned in each part of this, is that I can never assume, and sometimes you think, and when you assume you always get, bites you in the butt, so I want to be as thorough as I can, to be able to, represent the community in a number in the best way. Not that we don't want to do affordable housing, we do, but, we can always do more in our number, but it's like being able to also, the important thing is satisfy the process, so you're not exposed and you have protection against litigation and can provide do all the affordable housing things that you want, but it's two different things, providing it and also getting the protections, so you don't have to do things that you're not planned for. That's not under your own control. If that makes sense, I know, but I'm sorry. I appreciate diving into it just a little bit more before we send a letter.
And that actually aligns with the letter from Clark Hayden about really holding off because we don't have calculation. We don't have guidance on how to provide documentation for compliance. So, they explicitly tell us to hold off before we make any resolutions until we get specifics, which makes a lot of sense.
I think there's actually a hearing too in Mercer, December 20th, I think they're having, so I think the legislators waiting to see what or to the extent, so.
They talked about extending the January 31st deadline because of the confusion. And then there's this case, which may not or happen, where they could put a stay on the enforcement of a bill and of this process, so. Stay tuned, not that we want that, but we at least want to be in the,
I think it'll give us some additional time. to
Yeah.
get The numbers.
Yeah.
For everything.
Yeah.
So would the council be amenable maybe, like early in January, maybe the sixth, which is a Monday, to having a public meeting with Kelly and, Clark Higgins to talk about some of these things?
Yeah, I'd like to be able to speak to Mike or and them or offline as well. To be able to just throw around some ideas and understand what, just to, so I don't waste the public's time and asking some of them, so. I'd just like to be able to do that. I think it might be helpful.
Right,
And for any of us, since we can't do it all together, at least that we know, so then when we talk about it in public, I'm not like going off on a tangent and everybody's like, what the heck is she talking about? But
no, I think it's a good, I think
it's a
it's a
back
good
and
point.
forth.
I also wonder if it wouldn't be good to get everybody in the room to, I'll have questions, everybody will have questions, and. I think to do it in a public, kind of early in the month, if the council, thinks it's a good idea, I don't know. We'll discuss later, if, ready to make a message about it. But,
Yeah, you can talk about it.
good. And thank you, Councilman, Eastgate, we have a lot of experience with this, so appreciate your expertise. Anyone else have any thoughts about this process or? Right, so that was that. Announcements, following Judy's call, just to tell you, we have done a couple of things, and I forgot to put it in Lambertville Matters this week, but we did send a letter out, a joint letter, the chamber and myself to all businesses, it was hand delivered to all businesses in the city. Encouraging businesses to stay open late on Fridays. The chamber put something out today. It was on social media. I don't know the exact number of businesses who have replied that they were going to participate in that program. We will put it on Lambertville Matters next week. So there has been an effort there, and it's out there. I could send you links to a couple of things. I saw something today on Instagram, as a matter of fact. And I also did an interview with Philadelphia News Channel and Mark Salick at Lambertville Station a couple of days ago, touting the glories of Lambertville in December. So that will be released as part of the county's broader effort at tourism here in Hunterdon County and specifically in Lambertville. So that went well. It was done in the station with the news people.
For those who don't know who Mark is, can you?
Yeah, Mark Salick is the executive director of the Hunterdon Chamber of Commerce. And I think that he would be a great person to partner with in terms of a farm market, Sunday farm market. They have the Hunterdon Beer Trail, they have all the agri-tourism, and wouldn't it be nice if we were the southernmost part of that trail, on a Sunday? So there are plenty of opportunities here to kind of work with the Hunterdon County Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to see us work more with that, and I sometimes think that I often think that we should be working more with Hunterdon County in many ways, but specifically with the Chamber of Commerce, because they're a great, well-funded, incredible resource.
Yeah, Mark is actually like a county employee, just to be clear, and he directs the economic development division and tourism division. And so it's been great, and they've been great partners with us going back to a year ago when the bridge was first going to close, that they volunteered to do info pieces for us on with a QR code of when the bridge was going to be closed, and really has started doing a lot of things with the chamber already, and been working with I know Carolyn at Union Coffee at the chamber, working with the whole chamber to try to bring us in, because I know they're very excited about, bringing Lambertville more into their tourism efforts, because the county is really spearheading a lot of that, and they do some great work. So it'll be really great to take a bigger role in that.
Give me just a second. One second. One thing I wanted to know, obviously, well, not obviously, but Vickles is closing on the 31st of this year. a very storied career, in Lambertville, very iconic. I don't use the word iconic very often, but I think this is period here. I do want to make a note that they do have a kind of a guest book or a register, and I would encourage everybody to go in and sign and wish them well. We'll have some more conversation about Finkel's probably at the next meeting. It's a bittersweet moment for the city, and we'll certainly miss them. There's so many great stories.
Yeah, so much discussion over what's going to happen to the Finkel sign, so we.
I just had some last emails about the Finkel sign.
That's
So,
so nice.
Oh, I thought about this.
Sort out in the lobby there. Lit up, right?
Conversations. All right, holiday hours. 7:24 Christmas Eve, all offices are closed at 4:30. Obviously, we're closed on Christmas Day, closed on New Year's Eve and 4:30. The last day for the street sweeper will be Friday, December 20th. Convenience center hours are noted December 7th and 21st from 9 to noon. Wednesday, December 18th from 3 to 5. The meters will be bagged in the Central Business District starting Tuesday, the 17th through Christmas Day, the 26th. Please note the reorganization schedule, which is on the agenda here. And now the organization meeting will be on the 2nd at 7 p.m. On Monday evening at 6 o'clock. So everybody will come, and we'll see you there. And I would, I think now. Public participation, second round, same guidelines as before. If you'd like to come up with a question, please go there. I'm into the meetings.
Sandy Hanna, 249 South Franklin. Is there any way to ever get the sweeper come up to South Franklin?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
We have so many ways.
No, I did a walk this morning with Archer, and yes, Swan Street all the way needs to be done. And I came down, Highland needs to be done. So yes, yes.
If they can do it,
We have 2 sweepers now, but
through the winter transition.
yes.
Which will now, I think we'll put down on 29.
Yeah, in fact, I extended the hours this year because I think last year I have a very keen memory that we stopped a week earlier and there were problems with some icy conditions in these block
Okay, thank you very
drains. So,
much.
yeah, not at all. And we have 2 stories. I did mention in Lambertville Matters, however, that we are down a person at the Department of Public Works. So people's I appreciate your patience at least in picking up on use and some of the other things that a 25-hour a week person will do.
You can't drive the sweeper, the other one?
I can't drive either sweeper. I don't have a CDL yet.
Paul Cronk, is he still going
Yeah.
so if this is the last week, then
Yeah,
maybe he can do it for a couple of days and.
yeah. And they've been sort of tag teaming with both sweepers. So I'll talk to Lester about it and I did walk up the hill this morning and I can see that the leaves are a problem. They're an expensive problem coming down South Franklin Street, adjacent to the cemetery. There are clearly drains there that are blocked, so I will get them up there.
Okay.
So we'll have to maybe notice some,
No, you know what?
give it a shot.
Well, I think on set, yeah, I mean, up on the hills, we're not gonna notice people, we're just gonna go around, park cars and do what we can. When I was up there this morning, there were no cars parked along. If you go during the weekdays,
A catch basin.
yeah,
Yeah, although there's been weeks on Lincoln Avenue this year that have been horrific.
yeah. Okay, adopt a drain program will be starting next year.
Okay.
So,
Got one from that.
okay, good. That's 3 people.
Planted from the tree, it's like, wow.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That and garbage can. Really.
Before you speak, Judy, I will also say that we have an exciting prospect coming up in the resilience team. we asked the Sustainable Jersey if they would consider, funding a rebate program for residents who wanted the park plant rain gardens, and it looks like we may get a Helen grant to do that next year. So anybody who's ever wanted, autumn or native plants, this may be your year to do it for, nothing.
Judy Lisa, 86 North Union Street. I think I missed the answer to this because it was about street sweeping, but as I was walking around, I couldn't really hear it entirely. And what I was going to ask was, when we know it's gonna be freezing, can the city say no street sweeping when you know it's gonna be freezing in the morning? Because I don't think they can street sweep with water in the street sweeper when it's 23 degrees in the morning. But everybody's rushing around to move their cars, and I know there's only like 1 or 2 more weeks, but getting a ticket is not, so I just. We are later this year and we are having freezing weather, so you may have already dealt with that because you were talking about it when I was walking around, but. It would be nice to know earlier than 8 in the morning, which is when it's already too late, that you don't have to move your car because it's freezing and the street sweeper can't run with water in freezing weather. So I may have missed it, you may have already said yes.
It's the same policy as always. We post it on the website, the sweeper's not running, otherwise everybody should just assume that the sweeper's running. We've talked about this.
No, I know, but I've checked it and I just don't know when you post it, but we usually know it's gonna be cold. And I don't think we can sweep in freezing weather. Maybe we can, but I don't think we can.
It's super freezing weather, sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, that was a thought that the previous mayor had that wasn't actually correct, but okay.
We have a new street sweeper now.
It's different.
I just think it's.
Right.
30,000.
Jeff Tittle, 33 Wilson Street, just a couple of points. I thought that the town originally, when they bought the property behind CVS, that was supposed to be a community garden. That was my recollection of that.
I'm sorry, I don't think you're in error
Okay,
with that.
It was one of the potential features, and when we started looking at the grant for the trees, that was discussed in early 2022. Plans were re-released. We talked about this at the council level, and we proceeded with the grant request for the trees, which were still quite planted. So there were 2 actual plans for that park, and they were never, nothing was ever done about them in terms of funding them or grants or whatever. We had the opportunity to get the grant for the trees, $20,000 worth of trees in 2022. We discussed this at the council level, and decided to proceed with the grant. I know that one of the council members' husband did some of the design work, so there was a lot of conversation about that back then. So, and the only point I would make about that was, the neighbors in that area, when they talked to me initially about a community garden, asked about it there. And pointed out without irrigation, that it may not be as good of a site, right? And we also know that the garden beds of the Holton Park have been used to, that it's good soil.
my second point is that we have a affordable housing crisis and we're running out of land. And if we encumber every part of the cost of property, then we're going to have to build high rises. So you have to kind of balance. Community garden, which is a wonderful thing, and that's why I thought of the CVS site when it was supposed to be. That made sense, it was right in town. I mean, also people there complained they didn't want a dog park, they didn't want anything there. But now you're going to be hitting a crunch, because if you can put some houses on Clausen Farm, you can lower obligation. If you make it a garden and you have all encumbrances on a lot of the property, a lot of it does because you're planting and doing things to restore, and that becomes even a lesser option, which means something else is going to give. Going to the housing issue, the way I described the whole housing plans and how it works, it's really a Rubik's Cube. As you move one thing, something else pops, because you have to have a certain amount of rentals, certain amount of 3 bedrooms, some you can do of affordable seniors, something. It's really complicated, and the less options you have for yourself, I think the more you're gonna constrain yourself and have a bigger problem. My last point is, on the farmer's market, I go past there every morning on Sundays. I still walk in like to get to Sunday New York Times. And there's always cars from the neighborhood there in the morning. So you will be losing parking and you should really talk to the community there. You know, I think Covello Park might be a better alternative. People do park there, but less there. You know, in the back of here. But anyway, I think it's a great idea to have a farmer's market. I just think we could make sure we're careful where we put it.
That's, of course, we'll talk to I mean, we talk about this in public meetings, and I'm happy to do, I think we're happy to do outreach to the neighbors, whether it's just a leaflet or make sure that there's plenty of notice if we're considering the library parking lot. In regards to local park, the area that would be under cultivation and part of a community garden is in the open space area. So it's almost entirely in the open space area. There's one very small corner of the back of that that would be part of the exception area. But again, mindful of that.
One last point on the parking. We've had either approved or built 22 houses. We've lost probably more than 20 street parking sites because of every time a new house, there's a driveway, you lose a spot. Plus all those houses have two cars and they park one on the street and one in the driveway. So the south end of town is starting to have a real parking crisis. I mean, I'm lucky. I wanted a nice charming house with a front porch. I got 2 off-street parking spots, so I was happy. But I just meant it's really going to become a problem with all the development and the housing going on and the marijuana. Just because the store comes in down there too, in the valet and everything else. So something you really need to look at.
The members of the community wish to speak? Anyone online? Okay, motion to close the public forum period, please.
So move.
All in favor, please say aye. And as usual, following the second public participation period, I'll ask for motion to. Up there, please say aye. Remember to. Thank you, everyone.